All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series season opener here at Kansas Speedway. Race distance will be 120 laps, and of course, drivers with the one faster pair. However, with the Indy Series, they mimic the way they race it out there, and so there are no green white checkered attempts. So lap 120 will be the final lap of this race. So that's what everybody's going to kind of be banking their strategies on here tonight. And so joining me tonight is Boomer Logan. So Boomer, pleasure to have you once again over here. And as I know, we're still kind of learning and kind of getting familiar with these Indy cars as the season goes on, from last season to this season. But what we do know at these mile-and-a-half tracks, usually the bottom line is where you want to be if you've got that front position. The question will be, can someone kind of dethrone that front pack from the inside, maybe try to make that second lane happen?
Yeah, Gael, definitely excited to be back for the beginning of a full season here on the broadcast. It's going to be exciting. Definitely kind of shaking off, not long off season here, but definitely a few weeks to kind of reset and either, think about how you did and continuing that performance or trying to do a reset and getting into the groove of a new season and shake things up and maybe do something different or perform better or whatever, based on how you did last season. But yeah, it's a refresh, a restart, and excited to be back for the full season.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun right now. It looks like we got about 20 cars here tonight. I know there's a few that are normally here that aren't here this evening, unfortunately, but also do have a few new names and new faces to the league here. Say one of those will be the 19 of William Gunn. Noticed him in the server a little earlier. Jason Hand, also, I believe, relatively new to the Indy Series over here. And then you got the 5 of Gary Godso and the 26 of Dan Morera. So some new faces, but I'll say we got some of the regulars, the heavy hitters, if you will. So our defending champion Nick DeGroot is in the field here tonight, so he's always going to be one to watch. But we've got one of the kind of one that isn't able to race week in and week out, though, and that's going to be that 64 of Andrew Wood. Andrew definitely, when he's in the race, you got to watch out for him. So he's going to be another one to keep an eye on. And honestly, it's one of those races where pretty much if you've got about a 20 car race, I'd say you've got easily 10 cars week in and week out. They're able to win the championship and win the race as well. So Craig Forsyth, of course, one of those as well in that 27. So a lot of potentials here. So it's going to be fun to see kind of who's going to be the one to kind of kick off their season on a high note.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely exciting to get into the first race of the season. Looks like we've got about half of the field has set a time already for qualifying here as we look to go for 120 laps around Kansas Speedway tonight.
Yeah, and that's actually the one thing to bring up too is fuel mileage could be a big one here tonight, Boomer. We're talking a little bit about a pre-race, but hearing rumors of about maybe 30, 35 most likely for the green flag runs. However, I say these cars, they've got so many toys and tools that they can play with. Wouldn't be surprised that I'll see someone try to stretch it maybe even to 40 laps, because it could be the difference of maybe a 2-stop or a 3-stop race, depending on how the cautions fall here tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well to see what's going to be the winning strategy. Do we see guys just kind of go full rich and full send from start to finish, or do we see some guys try to play that little bit of strategy? Of course, let's say we mentioned weekend, we got a lot of tools these drivers get to play with here in these IR18 Indy cars. So they've got the fuel maps, they've got the weight jackers, they got the front and rear ARBs. Say if you like buttons and knobs, let's say these cars are the ones for you to be racing here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. You'll definitely be looking to see people changing stuff all over the place on their wheels. Probably a lot of guys in this league are going to have settings mapped for like the weight jackers and everything. Sometimes even making adjustments 2-3 times throughout the entire circuit of the track. Maybe they like the handling. It's too loose or too tight in turns 1 and 2, or the opposite in turns 3 and 4. So definitely a lot of buttons to play with here, and these guys are pretty good at it. I'll be curious to see if anyone does play that fuel mileage and play with the maps to save a little bit of fuel to go 40 laps at a time for 3 stints or 2 stops. But I think no matter what, you're either going to have to choose going hard and going, the 3-stop strategy every 30 laps or so, or cutting back and saving right away. You got to pick that strategy ahead of time, stick with it, and then anything can change when the yellows come out. But you got to wait. So stick with that strategy early and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Once you make your bed, you got to lay in it. You got to commit to it. There's no second guessing yourself and like, oh no, actually no, I'm going to send it. And it never works. So you just got to commit to it from the get go. So our starting grid though for tonight, it's going to be our defending champion Nick DeGroot on the pole position by just under 200ths of a second over Anders Arhus. Anders bringing it back here tonight in that number 10. Good to see him back. Got Matt Wagner there in the 6th and 3rd. Yari Brupacher, Craig Forsyth, our top 5. So that's a very stout top 5. And actually, we can bring it all the way. Honestly, let's say looking at top 10 in qualifying, there's a lot of heavy hitters, like I mentioned. You got Andrew Wood, Jeff Heisong, Eric Peterson, Alec Coates, Jack Walls, Gary Corley, Jim Brooks, our top 12. And then some of these drivers a little further down, opting not to qualify there. Jason Hand, William Gunn, the final qualifiers tonight in 13th and 14th. And then these guys opting to start a little further back, not putting a lap down. Joseph Morales, Eric Schaus, Robert DuPont, Gary Godso, Dan Morera, and Joseph DeCiro. So those will be our 20 starters here this evening. And like I said, there's going to be some strategy. Let's say one of those that are starting towards the back that I'm used to seeing up front and competing is going to be Eric Schaus in that 72. He's usually a very stout driver here. So I would be definitely keeping an eye on that in the 72. And he also loves to play pit strategy here, Boomer. So I'll say he's going to be one that I'll be watching to see if he pulls a little bit of strategies in and trying to do something off strategy, saving fuel, maybe taking one fuel stop away in that 72 Hot Wheels car. So we'll see. Let's say pace car is just about to start rolling off, which is going to hand it over to our front row of Nick DeGroot, our defending champion, and the number 10 of Anders Arhus.
Always exciting to see the pace car roll off a pit road for the first race of the season. Got, a little bit of goosebumps, getting ready, getting settled in, getting ready to go for 120 laps here, and just excited to get back to racing for sure.
Yeah, so it'll be 120 laps at about 220 miles an hour, most likely. It's kind of looking like. And I was saying, we were talking Matt Wagner pre-race, and he had mentioned it's like, oh, I know what paint scheme I'm going to run. I'll say this is a little bit of, not a blast from the past, but I remember this putting this one together a while back, and that's going to be the green-white checkered TV paint scheme. So say Matt, say obviously a racer here, but also a big help broadcasting with me on Sunday night. So say repping the station here tonight. So definitely always appreciate that, Matt. So say I think he's going to try to get some bias here, get us to root for him harder than some of these other guys tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm definitely biased, but that's definitely the best looking car out here. But there are plenty of great looking cars here as we get ready to go.
So, of course, that initial start always on that green flag, so they got to wait for that flag to drop, and then they will get things underway. And there it goes, and they are down and away. Build up to speed will be the first step, and then try to find that clean air as Nick DeGroot, Anders Arhus, who's going to lead the field into turn number 1 for the first time. And you can see Anders kind of taking a very, very wide line into turn 1, and again, that short distance, of course, with the way these cars still building up that speed, it's going to be a good opportunity here for Nick DeGroot to try to snag lap number 1 here, get that bonus point, extra bonus point even early. Of course, getting the one right off the bat for getting that pole position so far. Yep, job done for that 89 car. Oh, we see Eric Peterson there up at the top, maybe just flirting with the wall there on the entry. Again, these guys are going to try to find space anywhere and everywhere they can. So you're going to see these guys fan out 2-3 wide here, as not even for the sake of passing, but just to try to keep that clean air on the front wings of these Indy cars. So that's mission critical for these guys. You got to find that clean air to kind of help that thing rotate. And that's what you're seeing here. Is you see Nick running the bottom, you see the 10 running about a half a groove up. Matt Wagner doing the same, but it's Yari Brupacher going even higher there in that 49 car, actually going to sneak around that number 6 here.
Yeah, definitely. These cars are so much more sensitive. There's so much downforce on the front and the back of these vehicles. Definitely makes a huge difference, to be behind someone in their wake and definitely get that aero push sensation. But we see a few people kind of trying the high side here early. Obviously, Nick DeGroot running steady on the bottom, but a couple different strategies early to see if we can get this the second and third lane running here tonight.
Yeah, saying one of those I've talked to before, and obviously maybe get a little bit of insider info for preferences and stuff like that. It's the 51 of Jim Brooks. I say he's usually one that loves to rim. Oh, as I said, a caution out towards the back half of the field, and looks like the 26 of Dan Morera, heavy damage to that 26 car. So that's going to put us under yellow here for the first time tonight at lap number 5. But yeah, he does really enjoy running that top side. So let's go back though, see what exactly happened to Dan here, because he was started in the 19th position, so he was towards the back already, but maybe something unfortunately happened just in front of him and he gets caught up in it. So let's go take back a look here at that 26 car here. So we're coming through 3 and 4. We'll speed it up just a little bit more.
Looks like he might have gotten a little loose and overcorrected a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. Just snap loose off of 4. And then, yeah, he's trying to catch it, and then catches that banking transition. And at that point, all bets are off, unfortunately. And then, right into the path of Joseph DeCiro, unfortunately, as well. So pretty solid contact for both of those cars. So now the question, of course, I'm sorry, that wasn't Joseph DeCiro. Who was that? That was in the...
Joseph Morales, I believe. But
you're right. Yeah, Joseph Morales. I'm sorry.
An innocent bystander really there at that point. I mean, absolutely nothing he could do but try and keep your foot in it. Maybe you could try and move a little high, and I think you can see he tried to move up, but by that time he got there, it was way too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately it looks like that right from broken on that number 60 car. So yeah, so he's going to have to take that fast repair. Same thing for Dan, had to take a tow as well. So we got some split strategy here though, Boomer. So we've got about, looks like the top 9 or so staying out. The first to hit pit road is going to be that 6 of Matt Wagner here, and then along with Craig Forsyth, and then from there on back. So something we talked about before was like, hey, we should start bugging some people during caution. So we're going to do that right off the bat here, Boomer. Let's bring in that number 11 of Matt Wagner, who's actually the number 6, looks like, here tonight. All right, so early caution here. Matt opted to go ahead and jump onto pit road here, kind of go opposite than some of these leaders that stay out. So it drops you to 10th. Does this affect your pit strategy at all? Do you think maybe you can go kind of go a different route now the rest of this race? Should we go green, or what's the game plan here?
I can go about 6 more laps than everybody else. That's a good thing. And if someone would make a mistake by pitting, it'd be nice. Now I'll probably be up front, and that would be great for me. So my game plan is just to sit here and chill out and just kind of mellow out here.
Yeah, man. Good luck. It always is helpful to be the one leading the pit strategy that you're in, so hopefully it works out here for you tonight.
Thank you, brother. It's good to hear from you there, Boomer.
All right, we'll let you get back after it here, Matt. So good luck the rest of the way, and yeah, we'll keep an eye and see how that pit strategy plays out here, man. Good luck. All right, so that's gonna, I say we're already down to the 1 to go here. It's a quick yellows because there was no driver lap down, so usually the restarts are a little quicker, or the yellows I should say, a little quicker when that happens. So say we're gonna have here, we talked about that initial start, wait for that green flag to fly. Now it's all in the hands of Nick DeGroot, and again, the way the restarts go here, leader has control, but IndyCar rules single file restarts here as well, Boomer. So kind of a 2 birds here. You got to be careful, of course, one of getting a good restart, but then also that accordion effect when you start to get about mid-pack or so. So you get those guys get a little antsy. They kind of have to, they go, then they stop, then they go again. And usually it takes about 5-6 cars until you get to that second part of the accordion, and it usually ends poorly. So hopefully these guys will be on their toes here. Like I said, they had a bit of an off season, so hopefully shaking off the rust here pretty quick, and hopefully a clean restart here.
Yeah, you definitely got to watch out for it. Definitely can get a little bit of an accordion effect here, as it looks like we see Nick DeGroot taking off here for the green flag.
Yeah, pretty quick start there, a little early, but I think the early start actually probably a good thing because it lets the field get up and going right away. But I say what that does though is it gets these guys battling right off the bat. You got Andrew Wood, Jari Brubacher going after it there, and then just further back there, Eric Peterson's in that mix, Jim Brooks, Alec Coates. So yeah, these guys are getting racy right off the bat here. So say if you're pretty much the top 2, you're feeling good. I say third on back though, it's definitely a hornet's nest right now, as Andrew Wood's been able to get that spot from Jari. Yari's going to come right back after him here on that top side. Jim Brooks peeking into the mix there, getting himself into the top 5 now, starting 12th. So great opening stints for him. Oh, look at Jari there, just powers by the top side there around that 64 car.
Yeah, definitely some of our stronger front runners kind of at the front. Oh, we got another
caution
yellow
was
here,
back.
looks like.
Oh, Gary Godso this time around in the number 5 machine. So unfortunately, it's a tough one so far for the new guys here. Say Dan Marrero, the first caution, this time the 5 of Gary Godso. So we'll go back. We'll take another look at this one as well. So once again, looks like it was towards the back when it occurred. So let's go take one more look here. I said we're going to watch that 5 car as he comes out of turn number 2. And I could kind of catch a little, yeah, he was kind of bobbling already, and then just unfortunately tries to catch it, and just doesn't go well there. And so you can see he tries to lock it down here to avoid anybody else getting involved, but right there when he has to loop it back around, that's what brings out the yellow there. So we'll see if this brings any changes on the strategies here. I say obviously a pretty quick caution from the last from that last caution there, so I don't think we'll see a lot of takers here. We'll keep an eye and see. And actually, it looks like you're already throwing some fakes there. Eric Peterson, though, he is going to go ahead and take advantage of this one. So this is a tough spot to be in. Surprising actually to see Matt Wagner and these guys come in. So a bit of a split strategy here, but we'll step away for just a moment though, Boomer, and we'll get things back going here though on the 1 to go. So stay tuned, guys. We got plenty of racing to come. All right, so say not 1 to go yet, but I say why not pull in the first driver now once again here to make that pit strategy and pit a little bit early. Saying plus I know his dad's a diehard supporter of that 36 of Eric Peterson. So Eric, I say glad to have you back here. Glad to see you in the race car. So I was like, hey man, Matt and I started doing some interviews under caution on Sundays, and I was like, this is actually kind of fun. Let's start pulling some people in and bugging them. And I say you were one of the first that came to mind because I said I know your dad loves watching these week in and week out. So. You saw a bunch of guys, they pitted at 6 on lap 6. I'll say now you're the first of those pitting at lap 11. Does this do anything for your strategy, or just like I just want to try something and see what happens here?
No, I'm just going to try to see see if something happens here. I have a feeling we might get a few more yellows here, just to try it. I'm not really concerned about fuel right now. I'm just trying to have the best tires. Got a bad start on that last restart. Yari was in the wrong gear. He came over the radio and said, so we all got bunched up behind him, and I lost a few spots. And I figured if I'm this far back, might as well just get some new tires and fill it up and see what happens.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the guys that pitted on 6 pitted again. They're like Matt Wagner right behind you. He pitted at 6, and he's hopped back in as well. So I mean, you're in pretty solid company. So I'll say it'll be fun to see how it plans out. I say Boomer and I are talking. It's right on the edge of maybe a 2 to 3 stopper at the beginning of the race. Do you feel like this puts you in that 2-stop window now?
Hoping it does, but I haven't seen a good fuel mileage yet. I didn't get much practice time in, so I'm not sure what the fuel numbers are, but I'm hoping that we can get, run from fuel save and see what I can do here. So
all right, man, we'll let you get back at it. I don't know if you want to shout out your dad real quick before we let you go though.
I'll say hi to my dad. He's probably watching, and thanks for the support, and thank you guys up in the booth. Appreciate it.
All right, man, go have fun the rest of the way. Looking forward to you.
All right, take care. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, that was Eric Peterson there. We talked about the partnership with Dark Horse Racing. He's one of the main guys over there with that Dark Horse League, along with Charles Teed over there. Unfortunately, Charles not here tonight, but So he's a really good guy. Got to do plenty of racing on both ends, with me racing at his league, him racing over here with Area 51, and just a standout guy. A lot of fun to kind of hang out with him, just talk to and everything. So it's always a good time. Like I said, I know his dad's a diehard supporter of his racing. So that being said, though, yeah, we're coming back to green here once again. As I say, Nick DeGroot, he's going to lead the field back onto green here. Again, a little later start this time. But again, looks like these guys are doing pretty nicely on these restarts here, Boomer. No drama or anything like that as they get back up to speed here starting in lap 15.
Yeah, not too crazy so far. It looks like everyone kind of had a pretty even restart there. No one really jumped out too far, but obviously the first four kind of packed up a little bit, and there's a little bit of a gap to pretty much the rest of the field, but pretty quiet so far on this restart.
Yeah, I saw right away. As soon as Nick was starting to feel that pressure from Honors, he jumped to the inside, make sure he protects that low line. Look at Yari; he's going to try to do the double draft, if you will, jump to the outside of the 10 here in one and two. So that kind of steals the clean air that 51 and Jim Brooks was looking for as well. Because before we had that first yellow, was about to mention that 51 though really seems to like to really rim ride these cars at these 1.5 to 2 mile tracks. As they say, that slight contact possibly between that 10 and the 49. But it looks like we're going to live to see another day for the moment, but very close call. And you can see that's really bunched this whole pack up together. It was just the 3 of them. Now you got 6 cars here within maybe a couple tenths of a second there, Boomer. And it's really allowed Nick DeGroot to get some breathing room here for a few more laps.
Yeah, definitely Nick's kind of spacing out and checking out just a little bit as it settles down just a little bit more. But yeah, definitely some scary contact there, but luckily we're still rolling and still green.
Yeah, say so far so good. So right now, of the drivers that made a pit stop in this race, Craig Forsyth in the 27 is the furthest up of those. In the 8th spot, Eric Schaus trying to grab 9th right now. He's got a battle between himself and William Gunn there in the 19 just to his outside. So I'll say these guys having a pretty solid battle right now for that top 10 position with each other. But yeah, I'm going to jump back up here though, because it seems like pretty much Yari's been in the middle of all the battles here so far early in this race here. But you can see though these guys are all starting to progressively kind of drift up the racetrack here so far. Kansas is a track that does have progressive banking. Say for those that are kind of more the stock car oriented racers and fans and viewers, are very used to Kansas kind of being a rim riding track, especially in iRacing. But these guys right now, I'm not used to seeing the Indy cars up this high, but it looks like there's definitely maybe something there at that slight banking increase.
Yeah, you definitely know that they're going to be looking for it just to find any advantage they possibly can, and obviously looks like it's working pretty well. I think Nick DeGroot is probably the only one in the top 5 right now that's consistently hugging that white line. And another thing too about racing is you're never going to be able to pass the guy in front of you if you're running the exact same line as him. So maybe a little bit of strategy to try and make something else work, knowing that you're going to have to go around the outside to get around that very strong 89 car.
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw that a couple laps ago there. Jim put a big move on Yari there through 1 and 2 there to get the spot. Now he's trying to do the same here to that 10 car. But it's one of those things that as you get further towards the front, it becomes harder and harder to do. A, because of the talent of the drivers, and B, because, of course, you start to, the guys in front of you kind of start losing that dirty air. So, say, Anders here, not in the worst position for kind of the clean and dirty air for him. So, I'll say Jim's going to probably have a harder time getting around that 10 than he did the 49 because Yari had to fight with the dirty air. And so you can see here, Honors kind of working both lanes here, kind of running middle top there through the turns, drops back down, picks up the draft off of Nick. So he's kind of getting the best of both worlds here, the draft plus the clean air. So that's going to make Honors very difficult to pass here.
Definitely not for a lack of effort on Jim Brooks. Still trying to commit to that outside. You might get side by side with him here. At least he's no. Looks like he is actually. Yep. The 10 pulled through. 10's almost getting close to Nick DeGroot there. Maybe trying to make a pass, but it seems like this top 4 is really starting to pack up quite a bit as Jari Brupacher are also entering the mix.
Yeah. So Yari's like, hold my beer. I'm coming back to here for this one, guys. And yeah, Jim and Honors here getting very close right there. And it looks like once, like I said, Jim able to just get to the outside of these guys. But like I said, I think the draft through the straightaways is what's allowing the 10 to really kind of keep that momentum. Again, these draft is so big on these cars here. But yeah, I mean, it's becoming a very big pack once again. Like I said, Yari back in the mix here. You've got the 64 for Andrew Woods back in the pack here. It's also bringing Gary Corley right into the mix. And then we talked about Craig Forsyth, Eric Schaus. Those guys pitted at lap number 6. So we'll see if they can maybe pull some fuel mileage out of their hat. Again, this is all pending things going green, but the question mark, I think, is, again, was a little bobble there off of 4 for that 10 car, but man, these guys are starting to get really tight on each other here in that top 4.
Yeah, throw a blanket over them. They are pretty tight to each other. Looks like Jim's still hanging on pretty tight. He might actually, yep, he makes the pass over Yari Brubacher, and now he's just outside of Anders Arhaus as they battle side by side out of 4, and Nick de Groot continues to maintain that cool lead right on that white line all the way around this track.
Yeah, so I'm still watching a little further back, so say, man, oh man, these guys are going tooth and nail right now. Say, I'm honestly nervous right now where that 51 is riding, and say, well, let's hop on board here and kind of watch where he's going here, because he is just in such a tight, I mean, he is squeezing himself between the wall and the car next to him, be it Yari, be it Anders. And like I said, he is fully committed to that. But what I think is going to be happening from that, though, is going to be that fuel mileage is going to be what's going to suffer from it. So these guys up front, I don't see them going much more than that 35 or so laps. Obviously, maybe a little stretch just because of the fact of the way the cautions have fallen. But again, these guys up front, the top 6 have yet to pit. Eric Schaus, Craig Forsyth are the first 2 that did pit at lap number 6. Matt Wagner in the 11th spot right now is the first that pitted at lap 11, but right now sitting a little bit off the back. But man, these guys they're just looking for every little inch of clean air on these cars, and I mean, they are squeezing each other right now.
Yeah, definitely a lot of trust to be running side by side that quick with each other, so definitely a lot of respect there, and it's really fun to see these guys battling pretty hard. So yeah, we'll have to see. I wouldn't expect that these guys who haven't pitted yet, which is mainly everyone in the top 6 and a few others further back, but I wouldn't expect that they could maybe do a 2-stop strategy. I don't think they've stretched it that far unless you maybe do get a couple more yellows, but definitely expecting them to start having to think about pitting here probably within the next maybe 10 laps or so.
Yeah, so I think the one that I'm going to be keeping my close eye on is going to be the 27 of Craig Forsyth. He loves pulling strategy. And I think right now he's kind of in that position where he's in the lead draft, so he's able to kind of keep with the pack, but he's also able to save fuel at the same time. So I really like where that 27 is. I'll say, again, Eric Schaus in the same boat as Craig on the pit stop times, but I feel like Eric is starting to push maybe a little bit more than Craig is, so maybe trying to burning a little bit more fuel in that 72 car, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on those guys for sure, though. I think the telltale is going to be how much longer can the 72 and the 27 go compared to these guys up front, the 89, the 10, the 51, the 49, and company. So that's going to be, I think, the big thing to keep an eye on here right now.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't seem like much, but 6 laps of fuel is still a fair amount of fuel to have in the tank over these leaders here. So just have to wait and see how it plays out. Definitely would be interesting as it continues to stay green, hopefully for a while here, and maybe even to the end. But looks like Anders Arhaus is still trying to peek on just on the outside there of Nick de Groot. Not really able to make it fully stick, but he's right there. And obviously the top 3, Nick, Anders, and Jim, have all been running pretty hard. And I mean, even Yari Brubacher and Eric Schaus, our top 5, have been here pretty consistently so far tonight.
Yeah, so the next thing to bring up, you mentioned we were talking about earlier, is the pit stops for those on 11. I'll say Matt Wagner, he's worked his way into the top 10, but here's the issue here. He is 1.3 seconds off those guys in front, so he can't really do any fuel saving in that number 6 machine.
Looks like he might have had a yellow, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, looks like, Joseph DeSera had a moment, but he's able to jump to pit road, so we'll stay green here. But I'm worried about the fuel mileage for the 6 car because of the fact that he doesn't have really the toe of these guys, so he's going to have to basically hustle the car to try to catch them again. Which kind of brings me then now to the second car who was able to pit at 11, which is Eric Peterson, who we just chatted with, along with Jeff Heisong. So these guys are able to save fuel because, again, Eric's drafting off the 19 William Gunn for the moment. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of potential strategies going on here because we're just starting lap 36 now. And, of course, while we do that, there was a change for position. You see Jim got around Anders there, so now move Jim up to second position here. And so it looks like these guys starting to drop a little bit back here. Yari actually able to get around the 10 as well. So looks like maybe a little bit of tire fall off at the very, very latter stages of this fuel run.
Yeah, definitely. And just to touch back on it real quick there, it looked like Joseph DeSero touched the apron in the middle of the front stretch, got a little loose, and looped it around. Unfortunately, did not make enough contact with the racing surface to trigger an iRacing yellow. So no admin thrown yellows here, I don't believe, unless it's necessary. But oh, looks like we got another bobble on the apron for
yeah, it was
Nick
pit stops
Groot.
for
It
Nick
looks like he's
DeGroot on
trying to
his
come
Arhus.
in, yeah.
Man, that was a scary pit entry there. So that's allowing Jim Brooks there. He's going to lead a lap there. But now Jari Brewpocker's going to try to take the point over there. But man, that was definitely a scary moment. We were watching on board. You could see the bobbles off the back of that number 89. But I think pit road's going to be very busy now. I think we'll see probably the 49.51 not too long here as well. Yep, here they both come in together. And so far, looking clean.
Oh,
Looks
man,
a
little bit of
lot more
lockup.
solid. Yep, that's a good pit entry
Okay.
for those two guys.
Yeah.
And that's now going to bring it to Andrew Wood and Eric Schaus. So right now, those that did not pit, fuel mileage advantage going to the 64, the 7, and the 3, as they've yet to pit and are still on track. So, of course, the next thing to make sure is these drivers hopefully a clean in and out, no speeding on entry. But yeah, I mean, look at Andrew Wood though, still leading here. So definitely making fuel numbers in that 64 car here.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like the undercut seems to be more of an advantage for these cars than anything else. I know sometimes in some of the other leagues that, well, in the fuel league that Guile, you and I run together, typically the overcut seems to work better for those Xfinity Series stock cars, but not quite the case here. I don't think here with the Indy cars. We'll have to see. Hopefully, Nick DeGroot can come back out here and make his way back to the lead. Obviously, right now he is still trapped one lap down with all the other cars that either haven't pit yet or pitted earlier and don't need to pit for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it looks like right now for those that pitted, I believe Jari Brewpacker is going to win the race off in and out of pit road here, and that 49 was able to get around the 89 car. And then Jim Brooks under Zarhus, they're right on board here too with the draft. Oh, I think Jim may have had a moment there out of 2. I'm not sure if he caught the wall or not, but we're going to jump back up front here though, because I say again, we're still waiting for the leaders to finish up their cycles here. Gary Corley, he's on pit road. Robert DuPont as well. But say we're still the last driver who's yet to pit, which it looks like he's probably going to be doing so now, is going to be Andrew Wood here. I say he's kind of got that look. Yep, here he comes. He's going to woe it down here and get it cut left just in front of Craig Forsyth. And it looks like he will get in safely as well, which will now cycle the lead to that 72 of Eric Schaus. Craig Forsyth in second. Again, these two drivers pitted at lap number 6 here, Boomer, so we expect them to go further. The question will be how much further they can go. And then we start to get to those guys that pitted at lap number 11, like Matt Wagner, Eric Peterson, and Jeff Heisong.
Always fun to see how the strategy ends up playing out for sure. Looks like just about everyone, 4 tires of fuel on all those pit stops. Nobody's really trying anything for not taking tires. Obviously, tires are, like you mentioned, could have been a little bit of a factor towards the end of that run there before most of those guys pitted. But
yeah, I'm looking at lap times too. Tire fall off, not speed-wise, not too bad, especially in clean air. Eric Schaus last time by is a 25.40 to a 25.27 for Jari Brewpacker, so only about a 10th quicker for Jari there. So not a huge difference on that one. And so I'm trying to keep an eye for those drivers who are kind of where they are on track. And I kind of suspect maybe that 51 may have caught the wall a little bit off of 2 possibly, because it seemed like he was dropping off. Actually, as I say, here comes Eric Schaus. Looks like a nice entry for him as well. Hopefully got it down to speed in time. That's going to now hand it over to Craig Forsyth, and not surprised to see Craig stretch his fuel out here. But creeping into the back of that 27 car, here comes the 6 of Matt Wagner, just trying to steal every little bit of draft he can off of Craig before Craig has to hit pit road. But I mean, I'm looking at the laps though right now, Boomer, and say they're at 46 now. We talked about maybe that 2-stopper at 40 and 80. So I mean, these guys are kind of giving themselves a little bit of margin to maybe be able to kind of turn up the wick, if you will, on the second portion of this race here, if they can go far enough on these runs right now.
yeah, we'll definitely have to see, because I think most people pit around the 37, 38, 39 lap count, at least for the guys who hadn't pit at all yet. So I don't know if they're going to be able to still stretch that in 2 stops, but we'll have to see. It looks like there's a little bit of a bobble as Craig Forsyth also makes his way to pit road.
Yeah, it's bringing in Eric Peterson as well. So that was Eric again. Eric pitted at lap number 11 as well. So maybe either not the fuel mileage Eric was hoping for, or maybe feels like, hey, I can make it from here no matter what. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in as well. So That's going to leave 4 left to pit with Matt Wagner, Jeff Heisung, Joseph Morales, and Jack Walls yet to make their scheduled pit stop here. Again, slightly different strategies on these when they pitted, topped off, for instance, as well for that 60 and the 83. So I'm going to say these guys that are staying out here, I feel like pretty much are committing to that 2-stopper. The question is how many of these guys then have to react to that, and maybe we see the lead pack have to slow things down. Although trying to see, yeah, it looks like Eric's going to wind up rolling out behind that lead pack, unfortunately, a fair bit. So the next driver to watch is, oh, actually, here comes Matt Wagner, a big entry there as well. Is going to bring Jeff Heisung along with him, which will bring also Joseph Morales. Oh, overshoots the pit entry here. That's going to unfortunately be an unsafe entry for that 60. But we'll cycle Jack Walls here temporarily to the lead until he makes his final pit stop. But looking like we're going to have about 8-9 cars in this lead pack here once everything cycles through. So, yeah, right now still Yari leading the way out of those that have pitted.
Yeah, it looks like Yari is pretty close. Actually, I think we see Eric Schaus just join the track back in between Yari Brupacher and Nick DeGroot, so that'll probably be where the race, I guess the race lead would eventually go to Yari.
Caution is out. And the timing of this, it was Matt Wagner in the 6 car. Yeah, it looks like maybe looped on the exit, but look at this, though. Look at the timing of scoring on the left, everybody. Right now, Jack Walls has a lap lead on the entire field here. Of course, he's going to have to pit, but what this is going to do for Jack is he'll pit. Yari's going to get the wave around here as the first car one down, and then third on back here, Boomer, they're all going to have to take the wave around to try to get back onto the lead lap here. So basically, Jack's going to pretty much get a free pit stop here. He's going to come back. He should come back out as the leader as well with brand new tires and all the track position. So this is perfection if you're that number 83 car here. You other than maybe keeping those guys trapped where you don't even have to pit, I mean, that's about the best case scenario you could be hoping for right now for that 83 car.
Yeah, no, he's last came in on lap 13. He's really the only one who hasn't pit within the last, 10, 15 laps. So he's definitely going to come in this time, I would think. And yeah, I mean, what an opportunity to be the only guy that hadn't pit yet. Obviously wouldn't have been able to do that without coming in at lap 13 there to top off after the last caution. So, I mean, timing is perfect for that.
Yeah, and actually, surprisingly, some of the lap cars are going to hit pit road as well. Honor Zarhus, Andrew Wood, looks like they're on pit road as well. As I were looking back at the replay, and yeah, just a little loose, a little too greedy on the throttle on pit exit. No contact anywhere. Just that car got real sideways, and I'll say it was close enough to the racing surface that iRacing's like, yeah, we're going to throw this one. So.
Yeah, I think at the very end there, you could see his right rear tire kind of like just barely dips above the white line. I think that was enough to trigger it, but go ahead, Kyle.
No, yeah, you're exactly right. So, yeah, so here's Jack Walls. He's going to roll out of pit road here. Again, he's going to be, him and Yari Brupacher are going to be the only two that are able to hit pit road here. So, yeah, so pretty wild turn of events in this one.
Yeah, so Yari must have unlapped himself just before, or no, would he be the lucky dog?
Yeah,
then?
he was the lucky dog. So you'll see Yari right there. Yep. Yeah, just rolling out now.
There he goes. Okay.
So what he can do here is he'll be able to pit if he chooses to behind the 83 car, which I think you might as well do. Get yourself back on basically level tires and fuel as the 83 car. The surprising decisions for me, though, are those drivers that actually chose to hit pit road who were going to get the wave around, like the 10 of Anders Arhus and the 64 of Andrew Wood, because they're out behind that 83 car, and so they're going to restart this race one lap down, though. So I'm a little surprised about that. We'll see about Yari. Yep, here comes Yari. He is going to indeed hit pit road here. So, and yeah, Andrew Wood coming back in once again as well. So maybe something going on with that 64 car, but what we're going to see, though, is we're going to see a ton of wave around. So let's talk to the beneficiary of this caution and see what he thinks about that pit strategy, because I say it's always fun to kind of get the point of views from these guys. And I know Jack, he loves fuel strategy, and he's really good at saving fuel, Boomer. But Jack, have you had a pit strategy kind of work out to your favor like that one, or is this kind of one of those maybe I need to go hit the lottery after this race?
No, that just screwed up my strategy. That yellow really screwed it up.
See, I thought this would have been a good caution for you. So you're not happy with the yellow then?
No, I'm not. Because now all these guys get to, well, maybe, I don't know. if the yellow didn't come out, I think I would have been good on just one more stop.
Yeah, and that's what Boomer and I were discussing, was who could make it maybe on the two-stop strategy to the end. And we were watching. We figured for sure you were going to be in a good spot there. And then we had our eyes on a couple other drivers like Craig Forsyth and Matt Wagner there was one of the other ones. So we'll see. Obviously, like I said, there's going to be a ton of wave rounds here, so you'll cycle through to the front here. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, man. But yeah, it was definitely the timing of the caution really shook up the running order here. So we'll let you get back to it, man, and good luck the rest of the way, Jack.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to say that's probably the least excited I've ever heard somebody for having the field trapped to lap down at the time of the yellow there, Boomer. But again, I mean, I think he's thinking this caution might be putting a lot of these drivers into that one pit stop from now to the end of this race here. But yeah, definitely a surprise to me on that one, that how bummed he was there. The problem that he's going to have here, though, is he's going to have some very hungry drivers chasing him down on this restart here, because he's going to have behind him, he's going to have that 19 there of William Gunn, who's right now the first car one down, and then you got Anders Arhus right there as well, Matt Wagner, Andrew Wood, and then you get our second place driver of Jari Brubacher sitting at about fifth or so in that in the 49 car. So yeah, this is a very, very odd restart here for these guys. So for Jack, though, I think he's got to kind of do what Nick DeGroot did, is just pretty much just live on that white line and kind of just make him, if they're on pass you, make him go around on the outside here. So we'll see what Jack's got as he goes early and gets a great jump over that 19 car as we get back to green, start lap 56.
Yeah, I definitely think as him being the leader here with a couple lap cars in between him and second place, just kind of take it easy, run your line, and if they get by you, let them try to unlap themselves. But definitely a bit of a cushion here as we get back under green. Jari Brubacher's just over a second behind Jack Walls here with all the cars in between them.
Yeah, so the one thing that will really throw Jack's strategy is the fact that if there's yellow, but right now Jack's kind of playing it a little bit more cautious than I thought. I thought he'd be living on that white line, like I said, just like, hey, I'm going to protect that bottom, but he's going to go ahead and run the middle top here. He's going to let these guys unlap themselves. The question, I guess, on this side is, I say we still got, again, over 60 to go in this race, just about at the halfway point. Maybe what he's saying is here, if he stays aggressive, he wouldn't be able to make it to the end, but man, I don't know. I think if I'm the 83 car, I'd be living on that white line and just making them have to go the long way around me.
Yeah, I could definitely see some point to where he showed a little bit of frustration with that yellow there, because I think he would have been probably one of the few cars that could have made it for sure on one stop, as obviously we see Jari Brubacher here diving towards the bottom. Looks like that's going to be a pass for the lead.
Yeah, and the other thing, though, is with those drivers that took the wave around right here behind him, there's Eric Schaus, there's Nick DeGroot, so these guys are right back in the thick of it. The question is, did that yellow get them into the window where they can make it on one stop, or did they still pit too early where they will have to make maybe a second splash or something like that towards the very, very end of the race? So there's a lot of potentials here for what's going to be the right strategy. And but yeah, you're right, though. I mean, it looks like at this point, pretty much the field here has unlapped themselves. So, and this is where it gets very dicey. As you see, yeah, Jack's just rolling right on out of it here. So, like I said, honestly, a little surprised that he was kind of down about that caution. But yeah, I think maybe what he's worried about is that yellow bringing everybody back into the mix there on that one. So we'll see. I say we still got about half of the race to go. So we're actually going to hit the halfway point this time around. And so yeah, definitely have to say hi and shout out to one of my buddies, Chris Jabot, who's watching over here on YouTube. So Chris, hope you're doing well, sir, as Jari Brubacher continues to hold off that 89 of Nick DeGroot. So as they run here, Boomer, we've got 15 on the lead lap, 3 of those on the tail end of the lead lap. Right now, first lap down is the 19 of William Gunn, and then Joseph Morales the next in line as 1 lap down, and then the 26 of Dan Morera is still sitting at 3 down here, unfortunately. But right now, though, it's starting to, I say it was kind of a giant pack gaggle, if you will. Now it's starting to spread out just a little bit, but man, behind or in front of the leaders here, that lucky dog battle, if you will, or the tail end of the lead lap battle, I say these guys are doing what I kind of thought Jack would be doing, is running hard and protecting that white line like you see the 10 of Anders Arhus doing, because you want to be that first car in this draft here, because again, we've seen what they can do. The question mark, of course, is, like I said, is going to be the fuel mileage to the end, with Matt Anders and Andrew pitting at 51 and 52. So maybe their choice on pitting here is knowing, hey, we can make it to the end if we pit. If we stayed out, we would have to do that second stop. So maybe the 1 lap kind of penalty, if you will, maybe actually a blessing in disguise if we go green the rest of the way. So there's a lot of strategies that are potentials here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, there's a couple people, handful of people that stopped at that. Well, really only Jari Brubacher and Jack Walls that stopped at that last caution. Everyone else kind of stopping at about lap 47 to 49. So about 15 laps now on their tires and fuel. And then we got the other group at the front being Nick DeGroot, Jim Brooks, and Alex Coates pitting last at around lap 37. So they're approaching 30 laps on their tires. They're probably going to have to start thinking about coming in soon and making what would be 2 more stops, I believe. Yeah, 2 more stops. So we'll have to see. There's still some that can stop, I believe, 1 more time, but there's definitely a few that have to still stop twice.
Yeah, and the one we're kind of focused on right now is Craig Forsyth, who's side by side with Eric Schaus right now. Craig was one of those that went the furthest of those that have yet to pit, that pitted under green, that didn't pit again the second time around at lap 47. So I do like where Craig is, and again, I'm watching here. He seems awful comfortable just to kind of cruise in the draft and just be saving fuel. So really, I think, yeah, for those that can make it maybe to the end and 1 more stop without a caution, of course, I'm going to put it that obviously Jari Brubacher, who was able to pit, being the first of those that was on the lead lap there, or first a lap down, I'm sorry, I should say. I feel like he can make it to the end on 1 more stop. I'm going to say Eric Schaus. I never count Eric out because he is just a fuel wizard on that 72 car. And then Craig Forsyth and Jack Walls, I feel pretty much certain for those. And then actually a little further back, I'm going to say Eric Peterson, 47 as well. I feel like Eric can probably make that number as well if he needs to, if he kind of just focuses on it. So it's going to be interesting here to say it's kind of a tale of 2 races right now I think for those that are just going to go outright all out for it, stay in front of the leaders, and those are saying, yeah, just save, and then basically wait till that final pit stop window opens.
Yeah, definitely. I still think that Jack Walls and Jari Brubacher are still in a great position to only have to pit 1 more time. If this goes green, look for them to definitely have an advantage over the rest of the field. But we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, anything can happen at any time, and yellows, who knows? Hopefully we can go green the rest of the way, but obviously, you're committed to your strategy now like we talked about before, but that wild card gets thrown when the yellow flag flies.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So right now, let's say Nick's leading this pack, but again, you can see, doesn't look like there's a lot of urgency in a handful of these guys of maybe trying to get right to the front. But say what is going to cause a little urgency is right there, though, that Matt Wagner having a little bit of connectivity issues there, and right in front of 3 leaders now. You got the 89, the 72, and the 49. So you get very nervous when you're behind a car that disappears for moments here and there. So yeah, you're right, though. I think on the fuel side of things, definitely full advantage is going to be Jari Brubacher, Jack Walls, because they've got 5 laps margin on the closest driver that stayed out, being Craig Forsyth and Eric Peterson. But actually, I'm going back and looking. I'm lying to you guys, everybody. I'm sorry. We haven't been talking about him. Jeff Heisong, he pitted at lap 49. So he has 2 laps on Craig Forsyth. He stayed out to take that wave around as well. I feel pretty good about the 18 now too, Boomer, because he's actually only a 2 to 3 lap difference than Jack and Jari here. So 18 car might be in a very solid spot himself.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. There's still a few in the mix that have to pit twice, but those will definitely be ones that'll have to pit once. And obviously, Anders Arhaus, Andrew Wood, and Matt Wagner technically leading in front of the leaders right now, but they are the the last cars on the lead lap. They did also pit at the last caution, obviously not taking the wave around, and it could be an opportunity for them, if they are able to get back on the lead lap, for them to jump right back in this too. So I wouldn't count those guys out yet either. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they're holding strong ahead of our leader, Eric Schaus. Again, remind you that the guy 4th in line, Eric Schaus, is actually our leader. Those 3 at the front you see of Anders Arhaus, Andrew Wood, and Matt Wagner all being the tail end of the lead lap. So they're battling hard and able to so far stay on the lead lap. As we see now, looks like Eric is able to get side by side, maybe around the Oh shoot, who was that? That was Matt Wagner, right? Oh,
Oh, Nick DeGroot. Oh, overshoots pit road. That's going to be a pit penalty for him, unfortunately. Brings Jim Brooks in as well. So, yeah, these guys pitting with 46 to go. No way they can make it to the end. So, you're right. These guys, 2 stoppers no matter what. But Nick's going to have a stop and hold here. And I say, so now you start to question some of those other guys. When do we see them on in as well? So, you're right, though. Eric Schaus was able to get around Matt Wagner. But, man, Matt is fighting hard to try to stay in that position. As, yeah, Alec Coates, I had a feeling Alec wasn't too far behind as well. He hits pit road as well. Say those were some of the earliest pitters on that first green flag run. So, not a surprise for those guys. The question mark is going to be, like I said, I think I really want to watch closely is going to be Craig. Craig and Jeff Heisong and Eric Schaus, I feel like, are ones that could maybe stretch it out here. I think, like I said, though, I think if they can get to about mid-30s, you're feeling pretty good about that field match to the end of the race. As Gary Corley and Robert DuPont are also on pit road here. So, say pit road getting pretty busy, but it's going to be really spread out for those that pitted, that didn't pit, and of course those that pitted under green before the yellow at very differing intervals.
yeah, Nick DeGroot's still on pit road, so definitely a
40-second stop and
disadvantage
hold.
for that
Just rolling
40-second
out
stop
now.
and hold. Yep.
Yeah, and when you're going 220 miles an hour running, 25-second laps, a 40-second is eternity. Puts him 3 laps down. That's pretty much his race over at this point. I honestly don't see any way of coming back anywhere to the lead lap at this point in this, unfortunately, for the 89 car. But so a tough way to start things off. But again, these guys, it's a 12-race season. They've got, I think, at least 1 drop week. So unfortunately, he might have to burn the drop early. So I say he's going to have to be kind of picture perfect possibly the rest of the way. But, man, Eric is just going after it. So he may be leader. You would think he'd be saving field, but he looks like he's definitely hustling that 72 car.
Yeah, he's definitely working hard to try and keep some of these guys a lap down. So far right now, he's still got Matt Wagner 1 lap down as they battle side by side. But, yeah, definitely working hard. Obviously, he's got Craig Forsyth about a half a second back, and Yard Parker about a 10th behind Craig there. And your top 3 still running. Most of the top 10, well, I guess I apologize. Most of the top 6 that are on the lead lap there are still pretty tight. Obviously, I think there's about a 1, maybe 3-second gap back to who was it? Eric Peterson there in the round out your top 6. And then everyone else is either on the tail end of the lead lap or 1 lap down after their recent pit stops.
Yeah, so actually a nice thing for Eric Peterson is he's going to, Nick DeGroot, after his penalty, cycles out right in front of him. So he's got some great drafting help. I'll say the question is, is Nick going to kind of set the pace higher than what Eric would want? So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, I mean, we've got the top 4. They're all back right together within a second of one another. Jeff Heisong's not that far back as well. So again, if they can make it on this one-stop strategy, the top 5 right now all in a really, really good spot. I'd like to see Eric Peterson just a little closer just in case. You always want to be in that draft window, but right now that top 5, though, I'd say all these guys definitely have a good chance to vie for this win here. It's going to be all about, if we stay green, of course, it's going to be all about that pit road entry and exit. But here comes Eric Schaus pitting at lap 39 to go, coming to 38 to go. I'm not feeling so confident about that. I think 38 is too far to have to try to make that final stint, or it will require fuel savings. So the longer you can stretch this run, the better I feel. So we'll keep an eye, though, and we'll see how this all cycles through.
Yeah, who knows? He may have been at the end of it and had to pit anyway, but I was to say we were just about to get into the range for the final pit stop, so we'll have to see. I don't think we'll see anyone come down for maybe another couple laps, but who knows? Eric might have had to come in there just because he was leading and just about flat out there.
Yeah, so Eric pitted 2 laps before Craig on the initial green flag, or I should say, the only green flag stop we had prior to the ones we've had now. So based on those numbers, you would suspect we'd see Craig in this time, but I think Craig has been able to save a lot more this run than Eric was able to. Like I said, Eric leading and being pretty aggressive here. I think Craig, he is, like I said, he really likes to work field numbers. Actually, Eric Peterson, need to mention, he's on pit road as well. So he's going to make his, hopefully, final pit stop here with 36 to go. That's, I think, in the window. I think that's feasible.
Yeah, that's plenty feasible.
But yeah, I think right now, if you're these leaders, I think you just go as long as you possibly can in the tank here. And right now, like I say, I think Craig is, I think he's just kind of sipping fuel as much as he can in that 27 car, just trying to stretch this thing as far as he can. Because again, the big thing for me is you want to go far enough where you know from there to the end you can run map 1, go full rich, don't have to worry about any fuel saving. Then it's going to be all about that in and out lap.
Yeah, definitely makes a big difference when you're, you can shave seconds off when you come down pit road or you're in and out laps as well. As it looks like we do have Honors
Yep,
Barhouse
Honors,
making
yep.
his final stop. Yep.
Yeah, Honor's in, I say, so that takes him off the tail end of the lead lap. That drops him a lap right off the bat. But I say, it's again, if he can get a good entry and exit, he can get himself back into the thick of things, still on the tail end of the lead lap. So I'm watching Craig, though, entering pretty low. I think this might be pit stop time for Craig. It is. So he's going to cut left. Oh, late entry for the 64 of Andrew Wood as well. But looks like pretty clean entries for both of them. So that's going to leave Yari Brewpacker and Jack Walls yet to pit. Jeff Heisong also on pit road. So the two that pitted under yellow, these are the two that are staying out the longest right now with that 49 and the 83 here. So now the question is, which of these drivers can go further? But I think at this point, I'm going to say it's pretty much from here. Oh, as I said, Yari in the back of Matt Wagner there. Matt wasn't able to get it woed down, was still on track. Yari just, I think, wasn't aware of what was about to happen there. I'm not sure they called it. He stops on track. Our leader there again to the back of the 6 car. And that's going to, once again here, trap pretty much the whole field. Again, a lap down behind the 83 of Jack Walls, who had yet to pit. Yari was, I believe, was going to be pitting soon. But, oh my goodness there, Boomer. That's a heartbreaker for Yari. You feel like you're in the perfect spot there. I think just unfortunately a bit of a miscommunication there. So we'll go back and take one more look at this thing.
It's hard to tell, but it looked like the 6 might have just gotten loose, overcorrected a little bit as he was maybe trying to get to pit road. And
oh, you're right, actually. Yeah, let's back it up a little further because you're right. It wasn't. I thought he was just trying to enter too high, but you're right there. He was getting a woe down, and then you're right. Once he got on the apron, it kind of just bobbled him and just kind of sent him back up the track. And then again, I mean, we'll look at what I'll do is I'm going to pause it here to kind of show you the speed differences right now. I believe it should give us the info here. Actually, no, I lied. It's not going to give us the info here. But basically what you can say is, I mean, Yari is going to be going at about 210 or so roughly at that point. Matt's probably down to double digits at this point. I'd say like 80, 90 miles an hour at best. And then just nowhere for Yari was pretty much committed there. Nothing he can do.
As soon as he touches that apron, man.
And so, yeah, that's this is going to be a tough one, unfortunately, for that 6 car of Matt Wagner. He definitely prides himself on being a clean and green racer. So you never happy when you're the one that brings out a yellow, if more so 2. I know Matt. He's definitely one of those drivers that's harder on himself than anybody else. So I'll say for Matt, if you're watching or when you watch, just keep your head up, man. Stuff happens, but hopefully you'll be able to bounce back from it here next week. But yeah, so what's happened with all of this though here, Boomer, is Jack Wall's clean or basically a free pit stop once again. But what I'm looking at right now is it looks like the 51 of Jim Brooks, he's the one that's swinging around the pace car here. Maybe won the race off of pit road, was the furthest up of those that was a lap down at the time of the yellow here, because he is now back on the lead lap here. So a big opportunity here for that 51 car, because once again, everybody who's staying out here, they're going to have to wave around here. So, I mean, you're going to have from, looks like Eric Schaus on back, basically, are going to have to wave around and get back on lead lap. So, I think now fuel mileage probably out of the question for the majority of the field. The question, like I said, I think from here, unfortunately, looks like Yari, I believe, had to take a tow back to the pits finally. So, he tried to limp it back, couldn't do it. So yeah, so we're going to see a ton of wave rounds in front of this 83 car. So yes, this is wild here, Boomer. But I don't know. Okay, yeah, here comes Jim. I was going to say, Jim hasn't hit pit road. Now he's on pit road. So this is going to be another pretty shaken up restart here on this next restart, which is going to be, again, within 30 to go in the field window to the end. Man.
It looks like even some of the guys that were 1 lap down are on pit road, even though, so they're not going to wave around, which I think is an interesting decision. I mean, I believe some of them might have had to pit anyway for their last stop. Maybe that was the case, but it's interesting that you wouldn't want to try and stay out here. Obviously, if you hadn't stopped yet, you're not going to make it to the end, but you're definitely within the pit window of making it all the way here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is at the time of the yellow, kind of where everything is, because so Jim Brooks, he is back on lead lap. He pitted, so he's good to go to the end. He can make it on fuel. Jack Walls, we know he can make it on fuel. And right now, I'm only showing Eric Schaus as the only driver here that might be able to wave around to get back on the lead lap. I think we're going to have pretty much from 4th of Eric Peterson on back. I think these guys are all going to be trapped one lap down, if I'm not mistaken. So
That's
this
so
is
goofy how
gonna
that
be
turned out.
this is going to be chaotic here, Boomer, because I mean these guys are going to want to get their laps back in case of a yellow. So Jack's going to be between a rock and a hard place again. Again, I feel like last time he was a lot kinder than I would have been. I would have just been running that white line and going as far as I could, but he's had a strategy. He's been sticking with it, and sure enough, here you go. You see the 07 rolling on by, and it looks like Eric Schaus is rolling on by, but then from the 83 on back, you're going to have Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth, all these guys trapped at least one lap down here. So, yeah, big shakeup in this one. With some of the big hitters we talked about, Nick DeGroot trapped 2 laps down, Andrew Wood 2 laps down. So right now you've basically got 3 cars, maybe actually no, 2 cars I'm going to say realistically that can win this race without a yellow. With being Jack Walls and Jim Brooks, because from I don't think Eric Schaus can make it to the end, because remember he pitted on lap 82, which was at about what 37, 38 to go at that point. So. But here's
he should be okay though with all the yellow flag laps.
Maybe the yellows bring him into it. But here's the other thing. Look at Jack Walls, our leader. They're second place. Jim Brooks, he's just about to enter turn number 3. He's like 10 seconds back, 11 seconds back. Man, if stars align, all that, Jack Walls will have a huge margin over these guys on this restart. It's going to be like, you guys, everybody, please just be on your best behavior, mind your P's and Q's, all that kind of stuff, because I can win this race at this point because I'm in the absolute catbird seat. That again, I mean, like I said,
that is quite an opportunity right there.
I'd say so. We'll see how the race pans out, but depending if it goes the way that some drivers are going to be hoping for to go, say he's going to need to go find some lottery tickets. But I am noticing though that it looks like they're going to extend the yellow here though, Boomer, because I think they're trying to get this timing and scoring sorted out here. Because anytime there's a caution mid-pit cycle, it really shakes things up. iRacing just isn't usually a big fan of it. So we'll see how it's all going to roll out here, because, yeah, we're still waiting. I mean, Eric Schaus, yeah, there's some weirdness going on, because Eric Schaus is now ahead of Jim Brooks while Eric was the wave round, so he should have been behind the 51. So, yeah, there's a little bit of oddities going on. So, I think iRacing and I think the admin's trying to make everything as correct as they can here.
Yeah, it looked like even Matt Wagner actually stopped on the front stretch for a second there to probably try and throw a couple commands, make sure everything was squared away, as he's one of the admins for tonight to try and make sure everything's good to go. Yeah, but yeah, it looks like we'll have Jack Walls, Eric Schaus, and Jim Brooks, the only cars on the lead lap. Obviously, Eric Schaus getting the wave around, as well as the 07 of Robert DuPont on this caution here. But the important thing for Robert DuPont, he's actually only, I believe, waving around to get to 1 lap down.
Correct.
So there's from 4th through 11th, all trapped 1 lap down. And then from 12th to 18th, all 2 and 3 laps down. So definitely, I mean, it was probably the craziest chain of events I think I've ever seen for timing and scoring. So it'll be interesting to see how Jack Walls can handle it. I believe we'll get the... Nope, actually, we're not getting the 1 to go. Looks like we're extending it by 1 more lap. So I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to sort out at this point, but a couple more laps to click off here, which really doesn't matter for Jack Walls. Obviously, the
it's probably a good thing, honestly.
Yellow flag laps count, and there are no green white checkers, so I don't think he minds getting a couple extra laps here to get this sorted out.
Yes, and the other person I think the big beneficiary of this is Eric Schaus. Like you mentioned, we were talking about, I wasn't feeling too good about his fuel numbers. But I think with these extended yellows, like I said, I think you're right. I think this probably puts him in the fuel window where he can still make it to the end as well. But yeah, it's like I said, whenever you get these yellows mid pit stop cycles, it really throws everything off. And actually, it looks like the admins are gonna have Jack roll through here. So I think they must feel like there was a mistake on the timing and scoring, where maybe those guys were supposed to get waved around to be on the tail end instead of being trapped one. So. This is definitely an odd situation here. So it looks like basically what's going to happen is you got the lead lap cars. They're all going to roll through pit road. Jack Walls, Eric Schaus, Jim Brooks, and then that way he cycles out. He's got to be careful. The problem is he just rolled through. He probably needed to wait for the rest of the field to go on by. But I think what they're trying to do is they're just going to try to go ahead and get basically everybody waved
Everyone
on by,
waved
who was
around,
basically
yeah.
everybody going to get one of those laps back, from 1 down to lead lap, from 2 down to 1 down, and then go from there. So
Okay, that does make more sense. I don't know if that's just the way that it worked out, or if it was truly that they left all those cars a lap down. But it does kind of make more sense that only half the field is trapped 1 lap down. But who knows?
yeah, it's definitely an odd situation. So I'm suspecting we'll probably see these guys go around one more time, let the field catch up, and then try to get rolling again. So, but yeah, so Edmonds, I'd say this is a really tough spot to me. You want to make it right for everybody. Of course, if you're Jack Walls, you're probably not too happy. You're like, man, I had this thing just in the catbird seat right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then now you just brought about 10 more cars back into the mix here. So I say you're probably not too happy about that. But I say we'll have to see these guys need to basically roll up now and probably catch back up to the pace car to go on. So yeah, so we'll step away for a moment. We'll let everything get sorted out here, and then we'll get things back going once we know we're going back to green. So stay tuned. All right, we're gonna jump back live because I believe we might be going. I'd say I haven't seen the lights come back on here, so it's unfortunate. Oh, there's lights, or they're throwing the yellow back out once again. So I'll say it's it's been a little bit of a chaotic one here. They're trying to get squared away, but yeah. So I believe it's happening. They're just trying to get everybody waved back around correctly. They'll probably clear the black flags that are needed and all that. So once again, we'll once more step away here, get everything sorted out here, and we'll rejoin once we know we're going back to 1 to go. So stay tuned, everyone. We've got 20 more here. It's definitely gonna get wild here. So stay tuned. All right, I think they've got it all squared away. Lights are off. So yeah, so it is going to be Jack Walls leading, which is correct. Eric Schaus looks like will be in second. Jim Brooks in third. And then Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth. So basically, we're going to have the top 11 back onto the lead lap here. We still got some big hitters a lap down, though, Boomer, with Nick DeGroot, Andrew Wood, Yari Brewpacher. I'll say, unfortunately, those guys all trapped 1 down, so that's going to be a big fight between them. But yeah, this is, I'll say, this extended yellow, and I mean, at this point, everybody's obviously now for sure good to go to the end on fuel. But like I said, for Jack, he was loving life, and it looked like everybody's going to be trapped at least a lap down, except for like 2 guys. So unfortunately, maybe avoid the lottery tonight after all, but we'll see. I say he's got 21 to go on this restart. He's got control, and again, like I said, I think he's got to stay aggressive here. At this point, you live on that white line. If they're going to pass you, make them pass high. So we'll see what Jack's got under his belt for this restart as we get back to green here. 21 to go.
A little bit of craziness there, but we got it all sorted out, and Jack Walls is back to the point, running the bottom all the way around the track, round 1 and 2.
Yeah, so and there we go. This is what I want to see from Jack. He needs to play defense. He needs to kind of keep that white line and just don't give an opening, because if you give a car length, they're going to take it. So Jack's just got to live on this white line, make Eric go the long way around, and just make it difficult for him. So basically, he's going to have to be pretty much picture perfect, though, here, Boomer, for 20 more laps. So say definitely easier said than done, especially when you got some of these guys out here that are as good as they are. You see there, I like what Jack's doing here. He drifts up just a little bit, tries to unload that wheel off of turn 2, but then brings it right back down before Eric has a chance to kind of do that undercut, if you will, and cut underneath him. So this is exactly what Jack's got to do here. Just use as much track as you can when you can, but then when you got to protect that white line, just live right on it, because like I said, Eric will not pass up an opportunity to try to get to that inside line.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see that really the only one running the bottom right now is Jack, and everyone else is pretty much running the high side of the racetrack. So interesting to see, definitely trying to get that high side to work. Obviously, as Eric Chow still works on Jack Walls here for the lead. A little bit more packed up here in the top 5. We're kind of running both lanes now, and they're starting to bunch up behind him a little bit, but it's definitely going to get exciting here at the end.
Yeah, so what Jack's gonna, or sorry, what Eric is gonna be doing here is he's gonna start to play with, okay, what do I do where and when to make my move, or maybe if I can't pass him, just to get my nose cone ahead of that 83 when it comes down to it at the start finish line. So the problem is he can only play with it so much, because now he's got Jim Brooks right on his rear wing. He's got Eric Peterson right there. And you've also got that lucky dog battle right now between Andrew Wood and Nick DeGroot right on top of them as well. So he's kind of in between a rock and a hard place here in that 72 car. But you can see he's trying to kind of lull Jack into a sense of security. But Jack, I think he's a wily one. He's been there, done that. I think he's gonna know he's got to live on that white line. So the hope for some of these guys, though, is maybe if he abuses his tires and it just starts to lose a little bit of grip, maybe then he'll drift off the bottom and they can try to make that move on him.
Yeah, Jim Brooks and Eric Peterson were running like 2 to 3 tenths a lap faster to catch these guys, and now that we're all packed up here, it's going to get interesting. As, like you said, there's a bit of a lucky dog battle in the middle here, or potentially, hopefully, if they get back to run the leaders, they don't need the lucky dog, but they're definitely battling for it right now. But right now, the top 4 on the field is your top 4 on the leaderboard. And then you have that lap down battle between Nick DeGroot and Andrew Wood in the middle of the mix.
Yeah, and then right behind them, popping in there is Craig Forsyth, Jeff Highsong. So they're in the top 6. And right now we've got about 6 cars, because you have to go about 2 more seconds back to the next car on the lead lap of Alec Coates. So as things run here at 14 to go, 13 at the line, it's pretty much a 6-car battle for the lead. And like I said, you can see Eric, he's trying to find the moves that he needs to do to make that right move at the right time. And you can see he stays so high there through 4, and then cuts down, steals some draft, then tries to peek back out. I think I think he's trying to find where and how he needs to try to make that move to maybe just nose ahead of that 83 car. But like I said, I think if I'm Jack Walls, you just got to live on that white line. I thought he should have been doing that earlier on the previous stint, but he's definitely doing it now when it's time for kind of to get the win here possibly tonight. So I like what I see out of Jack, and I'm saying just make them work the outside, because I'll say the guys that he's battling with, these are some of the best IndyCar drivers you see with Eric Schaus, Jim Brooks, Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth. Like, these are the big hitters here tonight. So
a little bit of a bobble there on the bottom for Jack Walls. It looks like Eric Schaus might actually be able to make the pass on that outside. No, not quite, but still definitely a big bobble from Jack here. Is going to have to stay perfect here for the rest of this, now that they're pretty much outside of him, almost going 3 wide there with Jim Brooks all the way on the outside. But Eric Schaus is staying high on that second place on the outside line, man. They're getting pretty crazy here.
Yeah, they're trying to make those moves, they said. And that's the thing, is the smallest bobble from Jack is going to open the door for one of these drivers As they look at Craig Forsyth, he's peeked into the top 3 mix now as well. Oh, you see one sliding down the infield. I think that's Yari Brewpacher off track, but he's off the racing surface, and so unless he slides back up onto the track, we will stay green. So far, 10 to go, we stay green. So unfortunately, just from about the best position you could be in for the 49 to now having just no luck. I'll say Yari Brewpacher, unfortunately, looks like he's back in the pits out of contention. But here comes Craig Forsyth, though. He's brought himself back into the picture as well. He's trying to work the top side of that 83 and is looking pretty solid so far, I must say. He's staying pretty tight. As here comes Eric Schaus, though. He's going to go through that third lane here as we go 3x3.
Yeah, so Yari Brewbacher actually went off track, and Robert DuPont also went off track, but thankfully not throwing, well, not thankfully for them, but not throwing a yellow here as this battle for the lead tightens up at the front.
Yeah, and that's the next thing, of course, is if there's a yellow, again, there are no green-white checkers here, so at this point we would get a restart, but once we get to about 3-4 to go, there probably would not be a restart again. So I think at this point it's in our best interest on the broadcasting side of things. We want to see this thing go green and done because these guys are going after right now. It is very exciting.
3 wide, almost 4 wide there. Not quite with Jim, but he was looking on the outside lane there. These guys are all over the racetrack. Obviously, Craig Forsyth working that middle line. Eric Schaus all the way at the top, and Jack Walls sticking like glue to that inside line, that white line on the bottom.
Yep, that white line's going to be his best friend for the rest of the race. Like I said, he's got, and you see right there, Craig tried to see if he can maybe snooker him a little bit, get him off the white line, but Jack stays committed to it. Again, just keep at least just less than the car length. That way that car cannot get below you because you are not allowed to pass below the white line here at Area 51. And again, these cars also, they do not get along well when you kind of do that mix of banking to flat. So I'll say we definitely won't see him in tri-oval, but he's got to be careful still even on the back stretches. Again, Craig tries to look, peeks back out. But yeah, I mean, they are at it right now. You can see Andrew Wood, he's still kind of hanging out in this party as well. Looks like Nick DeGroot, I believe, is kind of rolled off of this, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, he's on pit road here. So it looks like that's going to be it for the 89 car, as once again, 3 wide entering 1.
He had last pit at lap 74, so he was going to have to pit anyway, and unfortunately here with 5 to go, obviously already kind of had his night pretty much thrown away for him, but yeah, unfortunate for sure. But man, it's crazy. These guys are entering turn 3 wide. Jim Brooks looking like he'd make it 4 wide if he was there in that 4th lane. These guys are all over using different lanes of the racetrack. This is insane. I think their only hope is to maybe pull alongside Jack just to get to the line first, but Jack is definitely leading every single lap here. Craig doing everything he possibly can to get that draft and pull in even into 3. Yeah. Oh, looks like Jim Brooks might have actually gotten into the wall a bit there. Maybe not.
I say it's hard to tell sometimes, but yeah, once again, 3x3 here, 3 to go right now. And you're right, though. I mean, if that top side had a little more momentum, a little more speed, yeah, Jim would run that 4th line if he could get up next to those guys. But yeah, right now we continue to stay green here. Coming to 2 to go right now with that 83, the 27, the 72, the 51. And then just kind of creeping out of the picture, there's Eric Peterson. I think Eric is trying to let these guys maybe go a little bit too hard at each other and then make his move at the end. So we'll see if Eric tries to make a big charge here at the last moments because we're down to it, 2 to go at this point. Boomer, if there's yellow, this would end it. So track position will be key. You want to stay in front because if there's a yellow, that will do it. So right now, still continues to be Jack Waltz just hanging on to it, but man, it is going to be.
Look at Craig Forsyth. I mean, last lap he was able to pull even with Jack, but this lap not quite as much as the end of the line. You get the white flag, 1 lap to go.
Yeah, 1 to go. Who will it be? Will it be Jack Wells, Craig Forsyth, Eric Schaus? Those look like the likely 3 right now. Jim's trying to find a way to make his name known in this one as well. But right now, Jack, like I said, he's just living on that white line, making them go the long way around. So we'll see through 3 and 4. Can Craig get the momentum shift he needs out of 4, or can Jack hang on to this one as they come through the start-finish line? It's going to be tight. I think Jack Walls just hangs on to it at the end. He's going to get the win here at Chicagoland. Looks like by 0.02 of a second. Eric Schaus going to grab 3rd. Jim Brooks in 4th. Eric Peterson rounding out our top 5. But man, okay, so I'm going to say let's go back to that lottery thing, because Jack was able to make it work. He held on to it, and he gets the win here tonight at...
I'm sure a mix... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, at Kansas, yeah.
Yep. Mixed bag of emotions for him tonight, going from a little upset about the one, I think the second caution maybe, and then being the only guy again for the on the lead lap after the wave rounds for the most recent caution. So definitely a little bit of up and down, but he still gets it done and doing some burnouts on the front stretch here.
Yeah, what a race there at the end. And that's Jack. He worked it to perfection there. So he like I said, he had one small bubble. They tried to capitalize, couldn't do it, and then from there on out, he did exactly what he had to do to try to hang on to it as he celebrates here on the front stretch, doing some donuts. But just what a race, though. And I mean, again, just the timing of the yellows. I mean, and that's the point of strategy. Is that was Jack's goal? Is like, hey, I'm gonna run the furthest on fuel than anybody. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, I still know I'm on a two-stopper to the end. And it just worked out where those timings of the yellows, he had basically the field trapped a lap down twice in this race. And like I said, usually they say lightning doesn't strike twice, but in this case it did indeed. So with that, Boomer, let's go chat with some drivers here. We're going to kick things off with the 72 of Eric Schaus. He is our third place finisher here tonight. So we're going to pull Eric on in here. And man, I mean, you were kind of the ones I pointed out. It's like, all right, if there's going to be a fuel strategy, it's going to be Eric. There's going to be one of those to make it happen. It didn't look like the fuel numbers were in your favor for the most part of tonight, but the kind of once everybody, the admins and SA, I'm sure that was pretty chaotic behind the wheel, but having to kind of nail down the timing and scoring and everything there to get the field set up correctly, was that the break you needed to be able to make it to the end without having to take maybe a late splash there at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. That little bit of mess that we had to clear up really saved me there. Otherwise, I was going to have to save pretty aggressively for that last stint, and I don't know if I would have made it to the end. So as much as it sucked to be running all those caution laps and the confusion that was caused by it, it actually worked out in my favor. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Now, it sounds like your four-legged's pretty excited about it as well here tonight. So, but I mean, just take us through. I mean, you were going after Jack as much as you could there, trying to work the second line. Maybe were you just trying to find the move to make to kind of get the momentum to see if you could at least get the nose cone on him at the start finish line? Or I mean, what was your plan there for those closing laps before kind of Craig spoiled your party there?
Yeah, well, I noticed that he was holding down real low the entire time. So I was like, well, I don't need to like pressure him because he's already doing that for me. So I'll just run a little bit higher, and hopefully his tires will start to go and mine will come in. Because that high line seemed to be faster near the end of the run. But I think he was on fresh rubber, and I had used rubber already. So he was able to hold it down on that low line. He just did phenomenal. And then same story with Craig. I know Craig came flying past me, but I figured, hey, this high line's going to come back in. It's going to be faster. But Craig, he was able to hold that middle line and took it to the end. So great job on both of them.
So I don't know. Does your dog want to be interviewed here as well, Eric?
Always. He's always interested in friends.
So he loves attention. So we won't keep you too long. So definitely want to let you go, give him some love. But before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that podium here tonight?
Yeah, thanks to you guys at Green White Checkered. Thanks to Area 51 for putting on a great league. Thanks to my wife, who I don't think watched this, but I'll say thanks to her anyways. And yeah, thanks to anybody else out there. Appreciate it.
So yeah, definitely give Dr. Schaus, I'm sorry, a shout out from us over here as well. So great job tonight, Eric, and definitely looking forward to seeing more from you the rest of the season, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, Boomer, that was the number 72 of Eric Schaus. So then from there, we got to switch over to our second place finisher in the runner-up position of Craig Forsyth. And again, I mean, just right there at the absolute edge there. And it looked like you were one that was able to make a little bit more margin on Jack than maybe Eric was at that point. And there was a couple times we were talking at the line, you were right there on the edge of maybe trying to kind of nick him at the line. How much were you trying to work, and what were you trying to do? Was there anything maybe different, or was Jack just holding that white line too well to make any gains on there when it counted?
No, heck, I needed to smack his back end to make him get off the bottom line. I think that was the only way you were passing him at that point. He had the bottom line dialed right in.
Definitely looked like you made a couple good moves to at least try and make that middle line work. I think with 2 to go, you probably had a pretty solid effort, and then obviously on the final lap, just as coming to the line, you're obviously able to make a solid effort. But did you think that you were going to get there, or did you think that you, like you said, you didn't have to move them?
From the middle, I mean, you need to either have gotten the best draft, on the back straight and maintain that through the whole way around, or it's a 20% chance, probably even less at this track, to pass the guy off the bottom before the start finish line. Gave it my best, but I mean, Jack ran exactly what he needed to do. Good on him.
No, say you're usually one of those fuel savers as well. So you were one, I believe, that pitted at that lap 11 point. Once you pitted at that point, did you feel like, okay, I can two-stop it from here, I'm going to stay aggressive? Or, I mean, did you say, okay, I'm just going to stretch this thing to the absolute, basically, brim that I can get it to, just in the off chance of an untimely yellow? Or, I mean, what was the game plan on the fuel strategy? Because it looked like you were pretty much in that two-stop window once you made that first pit stop under yellow.
Yeah, that was the goal. I pitted in, knew that at that point I was going to be able to make it on only 2 more. So, and then, I mean, that I don't know what the heck was going on that last pit stop. It was iRacing chaos at that point. But I mean, I think everyone who pitted around my range right there, Jack, everyone had fuel saved enough to be able to make it to the end. We had the unfortunate earlier caution that sort of wrecked the fuel saving, I guess, at that point. But yeah, it is what it is. You've always got to you've got to play the 3 different or four different strategies at all times in case to see which one works for you. Hope that one of them is the right one. I mean, the fuel save is usually the way to go here, but depends on when the cautions are, of course.
Yeah, definitely cautions fell fairly well for the 83 to put it nicely here tonight. But say obviously some new sponsors on the side of that number 27 machine. So definitely want to give you the floor for your runner up tonight for thanks in chat so they could give for that run tonight, man.
Yep, Jim over at 40 Racewear. This is his new endeavor, and it's good on him to put the support behind the car, but not only the car, but the league as well. So everyone. It's nice to start the season off back on the podium, and looking forward to the season. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, a great way to kick off the season. And say with also some of the heavy hitters not having the nights they're looking for. Of course, still early, lots of racing to go, but say it's always nice when you kind of be like, okay, this is looking pretty good. Like I'm sure you like seeing the Nick DeGroots and Andrew Woods and such in the teens at the end of this race. So, but yeah, great job though tonight, Craig. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what you got for everybody the rest of the season, man.
Well, I have to miss Gateway, so I need every advantage I can get when it comes to Nick and the boys.
All right, so picture perfect for 11 races then, Craig. You got this, man.
You betcha. Hey, stay safe, guys.
All right, that leaves us one last person to chat with here, Boomer, and that is going to be our race winner in that number 83. We talked to him earlier. He wasn't too keen on the timing of that caution. I feel like maybe might be a little bit more okay with the way it's all kind of cycled through on this time around. So let's pull in our race winner in that number 83 of Jack Walls. But man, what a race. Jack, we interviewed you earlier feeling like, okay, he's going to be over the moon about that timing of that caution. You're like, I'm not so happy about that one. And then it happens again, but then it's kind of chaos where it's like, okay, am I restarting first with 3 cars on lead lap? Am I restarting in first with 10 cars on lead lap? I mean, how much was that kind of just throwing you off your focus and what you needed to do on that restart with that extended caution to try to kind of get everything situated there once again?
Yeah, that was really crazy what was going on there during that caution. But yeah, I knew I was the leader when the caution came out, so I knew I'd be first no matter what they did behind me. And then the secret was just to stay against that white line all the way around so nobody could pass you.
Yeah, so I was not, I wouldn't say I was yelling at you, but the previous time that happened, so you were playing real nice. You went ahead and you kind of went to the top and you're just kind of running your race once again. Like I said, I know you're kind of Mr. Fuel Mileage there in that 83 Shell Pennzoil car. So I was wondering, it's like, all right, well, he's giving up space. So I mean, yeah, he's going to go further on fuel, but I feel like at that point, if you had just kind of stayed full rich and lived on the bottom during that run before this last yellow, would that have put you in a window where you could not have made it on one more stop, or was it just like, hey, we still got half the race to go? I don't want to be in this point of the race. I mean, what was your thought process on that second to last restart there?
Yeah, I thought it would be close, so I started off on map 1, but then switched over to map 5 on fuel, and said I'm just going to run the tank as far as I can get it and see what happens with the caution. So, and both times that worked out in my favor, so it worked out great.
So yeah, so say I'm guessing felt a little better about that second one, and then from there, then yeah, we saw you pretty much just living on that white line, and as soon as I saw you living there, I was like, all right, this is good. I'm happy to see him doing that. So I guess the question is, so 2 cautions with your pit strategy working to perfection for you. So say once we're done with you here, are you going to be stepping out to the market and maybe seeing about some lottery tickets, or what's the game plan there?
No, I just got to make sure I keep that button mapped on my wheel that brings out the caution when I need to.
Yeah, so that might be the perk of the yellow car bringing out that yellow flag. But I mean, just great job tonight, Jack. I mean, saying this is, I believe I would say on Sunday Sunday night when I got to broadcast the fun race over there. You were right in the mix of it over there. So you get the win here tonight. So it's a pretty good way to kick off the season for you in that 83 car.
That's good. Yeah, my sponsor is going to be happy. And of course, I have to thank my sponsor, Pennzoil, for giving me this bright yellow car every week.
Yeah, it's always, I say we know it's you when we see that bright yellow car. It's like, all right, there's Jack. Unless someone tries to spoil the party and steals your theme or your paint scheme, if you will. But man, yeah, just before we let you go, I don't know if you have anybody else, any thanks and shouts for that win tonight, but just well earned, well deserved victory. It was definitely an exciting one with this. You just worked the strategy to absolute perfection tonight, man.
Yeah, I got to thank Craig Forsyth and Eric Schaus there. It was a close finish at the end. I got to thank them for racing me clean and not giving me any pushes or anything like that. So thanks to them. Thanks to my crewmate there, Jim Brooks. You know, he was helping me with the setup at the beginning of before the race. And thanks to Area 51 League and all the members for coming out each and every night we have a race. And, of course, thanks to Green White Checker for broadcasting the race.
Well, great job tonight, Jack. Enjoy this one. Looking forward to seeing you the rest of the season. I say keep that podium streak up, man.
10-4. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right, Boomer. That is our race winner in that number 83 of Jack Walls. And man, like I said, I don't know if there's a time where we've seen a pit strategy work to perfection, not once but twice. Just everything worked the way he needed to on those 2 cautions. And say it again. The first one wasn't too keen about it, but that second one he definitely made sure he took full advantage to keep that track position the rest of the way and ultimately hang on to get that win.
Yeah, definitely a huge break for Jack Walls, and obviously you still have to capitalize on it, which he did at every moment there after that last green flag flew and led it the rest of the way. So definitely took advantage of some strategy calls going the right way for him, and panned out pretty well for him as we had quite a bit of a goofy, little bit of a goofy race, but great to see Jack come through on top, and definitely a memorable first race of the season here tonight.
Yeah, so not much better way to start for that number 83 car as well. So like I said, podium on Sunday night for a fun race, gets the win here tonight on Tuesday. So he's going to be feeling pretty good about that 83 Shell Pennzoil sponsorship. And so, but yeah, what a race. Let's say just the strategy was wild to say, and a little bit of everything here tonight. The green flag pit stops, the cautions during the green flag pit stops, and then of course just the outright craziness at the end, everybody jockeying for a position at the end. So before we go though, we got to show our final results. And so we'll pull that up right now, and that's going to be Jack Walls getting the win by 0.02 of a second over Craig Forsyth, Eric Schaus there in third, then Jim Brooks, Eric Peterson rounding out our top 5. And then you got Jeff Heisong, Gary Corley, apologies, Gary, Alec Coates, Matt Wagner, Jason Hand rounding out our top 10. And then unfortunately, those trapped a lap or more down, including Andrew Wood, Joseph Morales, Anders Arhus, Dan Morera, Nick DeGroot, our defending champion, not the season opener he was looking for his defense. William Gunn, Robert DuPont, and Yari Brubacher. So I think Yari definitely the heartbreak of tonight for sure. So he chimed in earlier saying he felt like he was going to have the win there. Had the pit strategy, he said, just unfortunately, just the luck didn't work out for him there in that number 49 machine. And then you got Joseph DeCiro and Gary Gotso rounding out our top 20 here this evening.
Yeah, definitely look to see those like Nick DeGroot and Yari Brubacher who didn't have quite the night they wanted to rebound next week as we head into Chicagoland. But definitely a big advantage to Jack Wallace, Craig Forsyth, and Eric Schaus, our podium, as they are going to gain a lot of points tonight to kind of kickstart the beginning of their season here towards the championship.
Yep, exactly right. So Kansas to the sister track, Chicagoland. And so I think Chicagoland, I say usually a more abrasive track, so I think that white line is going to be a little harder to hang on to. So I'll say only one way to find out, that's going to be to stay tuned and watch next week over there. However, we still got more racing season openers this season. Thursday night, we will have the Super Speedway Truck Series race. Boomer and I should be back for that one as well. And then Sunday night, Matt Wagner and I will be doing the Super Speedway Xfinity season opener there. So definitely, if you like the 200-mile-an-hour racing, definitely come on back over to Green White Checker TV. But Boomer, as always, sir, pleasure doing this with you. Looking forward to getting you all up to speed here with those trucks. And then for those who aren't familiar, Boomer's going to be running the show there over on Thursdays pretty soon as well. And of course, got to also definitely thank Nick Chambrone taking over the show on Monday night over at the Next Gen Series at Auto Club last night, and was a wild finish there at the end. So if you didn't get to watch that, go back on YouTube, find it, and go watch that final ending, because it was definitely a crazy one on that last lap. So but yeah, again, Boomer, thank you so much for being a part of this one. Everybody that watches and supports us, thank you so much for being a part of Green White Checker TV. All the sponsors, ESTV, 4D Raceware, as they mentioned, the Awesome Shop. We got a lot of great partners here that's going to keep things going, hopefully for a long, long time. So until then, hope you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and we'll see you back on Thursday. Take care, everyone.